I'm Smriti and I'm a head coach with Leverage Edu. Leverage Edu is India's best university admission service, and we help you turn your study abroad dreams into a reality. So today's session is going to be about just figuring out that is studying abroad an aspiration that one should have, and is it something that's achievable? And I'm going to take you through in this webinar the process of studying abroad and how it is an aspiration which is very achievable for people at this point of time. And how I'm going to go about it is that first I'm going to talk about the aspiration. Right? What is the dream and what is the aspiration that we are looking at when we talk about a career, when we talk about education, when we talk about career growth in life. Then I'm going to talk about the situation in India and why it is not the most conducive, and we are experiencing massive amounts of brain drain, and even people who are brilliant, and have done amazing things. They have the best qualities, are struggling to make ends meet in their careers. Post which we're going to do a comparative of India and of the developed countries that we do target for an education abroad. After that, I'm going to talk about what might be some impediments to even thinking about getting an education abroad. And then we're going to talk about the whole process, what the process looks like, what the process depends on, because there is a lot of information and also misinformation out there in this day and age of the internet, which makes it seem like it's a Herculean task, and it is not something that people can do for themselves or that people would be able to engage in. And I'm going to talk to you about how studying abroad is a very democratic process. And if you are someone who has the credentials, if you are someone who has that capability and it reflects the capability of yours reflects in your academic record, reflects in your work experience, and how it is possible for you to imagine and think about a future abroad and a career abroad. And that's going to be the basic outlay of the whole session. So let's start talking about what the aspiration is, right? Now, what actually do we want out of a career? And there are some broad things. Obviously, this is different for different people, and everyone has their subjective idea of what they want from their careers. But at the bottom line, we want growth, we want good work, we want work life balance, we want good quality of life, and we want social mobility. Social mobility simply means that if today I can afford something that is for 50,000, tomorrow after getting an education or having a job, I should be able to afford something that's priced 1 lakh. And that is social mobility. Whatever the way I'm living right now, I'm able to upgrade that, right? And I'm able to increase my status, I'm able to increase my standing within the social space of the society. And that's the basic desire. Everyone wants a fruitful career, and through a career wants, obviously, yes, monetary benefits, but multiple other benefits as well. People these days have started prioritizing work-life balance and being able to help their families, getting medical insurance. Like during the pandemic, we saw that getting healthcare, medical insurance as a part of your job became a very important thing for us. So therefore, the aspiration is that, and it is not something that's not fulfillable. It's not something that you can't fulfill. It's a very decent aspiration. It is not something out of the world. Now let's talk about the problem in India. And we have to contextualize it within the semantics of our country, right? The problem with India is that there is just too much human resource, and there is poverty, uh, which makes human resource easily substitutable, and therefore the value that is attached to labor is very low. And this is a very sad reality, but the unemployment rate also in India is very high. So if you have a higher population, then the government responsibility or prerogative is to increase the number of jobs and to keep the economy robust. But that's not been happening. And recently, the unemployment rate in India in the past 2, 3 years has been 8.5. And this I'm not counting the unemployment rate during the pandemic. I'm counting it before that. So it's been 8.5%. And countries like Jamaica, Slovenia have lesser unemployment rate. And that's really a shame. And therefore, what happens in this dynamic is that even people who are brilliant, right, who've done amazing in their academic lives, who have those skills, are not able to actualize themselves and not able to reach their potential. But another sad reality of the Indian landscape is that less than half of Indian graduates are employable. And especially in 2021, only 45.9% of the graduates were employable as per a report by the India, as per an India Skills report. And therefore, even graduates from the best universities struggle because they don't have the skill set. So it's a problem, it's a double whammy. You don't get the best education and you don't have the most conducive economy. And that is why it makes things very, very difficult for us. And therefore, a lot of people in India also restrict themselves from dreaming of things which are beyond the scope, right? We sometimes most often, we're conditioned to dream of a stable lifestyle, probably getting a government job, working nicely in the corporate sector. And we aren't allowed to, probably, or we don't think of dreaming beyond that scope, becoming a global citizen, or going abroad for our education, getting that experience, and probably settling in another country, right? Now, let's do a comparison between the job market of India and those countries which are outside, which we usually target for education abroad. Because if someone, and this is simply migration, right? If someone's migrating, then we obviously migrate to greener pastures. We need better opportunities. We want better education, right? So you would obviously just you'd probably want to go to a United States of America or UK or Europe, France, Spain, Germany, Ireland, Australia, because those countries are more developed and they offer better opportunity and better options, both in terms of education and a career to you. And therefore, the comparison is between India, which is still a developing country, a very nascent developing country, and these countries which are already developed countries. Their economies have gone through major shocks and challenges, but have withstood. And they are some of the fastest growing economies, some of the biggest economies in the world. And therefore, the developed countries do offer more opportunity in terms of, the kind of access that you have to these resources. Now, what is another thing that exists in a career that you imagine in the West or imagine in developed countries is that you have more benefits, you have more security, you have better work-life balance, and therefore, you obviously, like, to a certain extent, the balance tilts in favor of these developed countries and having a career in these developed countries, right? Now let's talk a little bit about how then you do, go ahead and become a part of these countries. Now we don't live in a borderless world where transnationalism exists, so you can just cross borders and be wherever you are. We live in a world with tangible borders, and therefore it becomes important for us to consider what are these avenues which can give you access to another economy, which can give you access to the education of another country, right? And these points can either be a job or education. Now, in these two options that you have, getting a job outside with the skill set that we have and with the experience that we have becomes extremely difficult, right? Because you do not know what jobs have been posted out. It is very difficult. You don't have a network out there, and you don't have anybody who could vouch for your skill set unless you're taking a transfer within like different branches of your own company. Being able to switch, especially at the nascent point in your career, to getting a job in a different country is extremely difficult. Therefore, education is a little easier as a route to a career in those countries, right? And education, especially at the postgraduate level, is one that serves that purpose magnificently, right? And why is it something that you should think about? Because if you think about reports coming out from countries like Germany, countries like Italy, and Japan as well, you would read that their total fertility rate is very low. And what do I mean by total fertility rate? I mean the rate of procreation, which is enough to substitute their population. That is low, because of which what is happening is that the older people are increasing and the dependency is increasing, and hence these countries are looking to allow more and more people within their economy. Countries like Norway have realized they need at least 40 to 50,000 people to make up for the loss that they're experiencing. And therefore, there are two things that are important. The first is to not be very narrow in terms of your approach. Studying abroad is much more than just the United States of America or UK. It is Netherlands, it's Rotterdam, Norway, Australia, France, Italy, Germany, all of these places as well. And the other is that it is possible, because these countries are at this point where they are welcoming more people from outside. So it is possible. It is a doable aspiration to have. It is not something which is entirely unrealistic for you to think about, right? So there are a lot of overhyped destinations, but there are destinations which are comparatively easier also to access. And therefore, if someone's motivated to build a career, it is extremely, extremely possible. Now, let's talk a little bit about what is the downside of, probably going out and studying. It is a drastic shift. Yes, because you would be going to a different culture. And for a lot of people, exposure matters, but for a lot of people, the unfamiliarity becomes an issue, and a lot of people are not able to adjust. But that is something that you have to decide for yourself. Do you value your career growth more than your comfort zone? If you do, then that's a drastic shift that you should be okay making, right? It is risky, yes, but it's potentially life changing as well, because the opportunities you get would be very, very different. Now, let's talk about opportunities which are especially endemic to technology, right, and technological advancement. We're talking about developed countries. And in these developed countries, the usage of technology in everyone's daily life is much, much more than in India. And that is the reason why technology is very, very interspersed in these societies. And hence, the job opportunities or the opportunities available within the technological landscape are also vast and much, much more than in India. And in India, what we also suffer from is an oversaturation of people in the technological space, right? We have so many people graduating as engineers in different streams who are looking to build a career in tech, because tech is the thing to do, right? Everyone wants to be a software developer in FANG, and that's what the aspiration is. But you have to realize that FANG only has so many positions, and the point that I'm trying to make over here is that when you go out, you realize that technology is not limited to only being a software developer. There are multiple other job profiles available to you, which are as lucrative as being a software developer, if not more. And therefore, the opportunities and avenues for you to be able to employ your technological bent of mind or your skills also increase. Um, Now then, let's talk about another idea that perpetuates itself in Indian society is the fact that it's very expensive to go abroad, right? It probably takes a crore or around like 50 lakhs, 75 lakhs. There is some truth to that. Yes, there are some countries where it will cost you that much to get a master's education, which can then probably lead you to a better career. But there are also countries in which you can be done with your master's education in 7 lakhs, in 6 lakhs, in 10 lakhs. And that is comparable with India, right? Because in India, also you have IIMs where people spend 25 to 30 lakhs for getting a 2-year master's. And IIT, for 4 years, your fee, your fee would range from something like an 8 to 10 lakhs. The NLUs cost around 10 lakhs for their 5-year course, right? And master's degree in an institute like this or in any other institute would cost you somewhere around 3 to 4 to 5 lakhs. So therefore, your combined cost of education, even in India, is going to be probably like that much as compared to a country probably like Ireland, which has public universities. So therefore, the only cost that you will be bearing would be your cost of living. And that is also something that you can subsidize if you work part time, if you're someone who's motivated to work part time, because these universities realize that you don't have to depend on your parents' money to get an education, and therefore you should be allowed to work for yourself and make money, and then pay off your education loan or pay for your own education yourself. And therefore, and that's a possibility that they allow for, that's a possibility that they make room for. And therefore these countries have laws as well which allow students who are coming for their masters to work for a certain fixed number of hours, and the wages that you get working for those hours would allow you to cover your cost of education as well, and cost of living as well. And therefore, if you look at it, in some countries it's virtually free to be able to study. Norway doesn't ask you for money in form of fee. Germany public universities don't ask you for money in form of fee. And these are very good universities because they rank really high across the world. They have high research outputs. And I'm talking, and it's mostly related to tech also, right? Because tech needs that kind of research. So if you're someone who's wanting to be into the research scape of tech, then a better opportunity might not exist in India, but it might exist in an Ireland, or it might exist in a Germany or a France, right? And therefore, there's more freedom for you in those countries as well. Now, let's talk about the process. And there is a lot of misinformation around the process as well, that it is very difficult for you to be able to get in these universities. If you're somebody who has had a decent academic record, has performed well in college, or has performed, and if you're someone who's looking for like an undergraduate course, has performed well in school, then it is not difficult for you to be able to apply to these countries. It's a process, yes, but this process is fairly simple. A lot of the countries do not even ask you for the standardized tests like GMAT and GRE. And the countries that do, they will provide you more opportunities in terms of scholarships. And GMAT and GRE are supposed to be adaptive tests. They're supposed to be tests to check your aptitude, and they're not supposed to be difficult. People in the tech space in India are people who've cleared the IIT JEE exam, right? And that's supposed to be the most difficult exam which is related to tech anywhere in the world. And it has a very meager selection rate. And for those people who have cleared that exam, getting good marks and doing well in something like a GRE or a GMAT would never be an issue, right? So you would probably have to give a GRE or GMAT. If your education has been in English, then you don't even need to give like an English language test. You would be provided waivers if you can, get it signed and stamped. And depending on that, there are countries which would give you those waivers. There are some countries which won't give you those waivers, and you will have to give an English language test. But besides that, there's nothing. You need your CV, you need your transcripts, you need the GMAT GRE score, English language test if it's applicable, and you need an essay. And it is not difficult to write an essay which talks about your motivation, right? And about why you want to study abroad and why you want to do this course. So that is the process, and that's just everything that's online. You just have to apply, you go to the university website, and all of this process is something that's online. But before that, what do you have to do? You have to research, right? You have to research about the country that you want to study in. You have to research about the courses that you would want to do. You have to research about the possible universities. And this is also where leverage helps you a lot, right? Because we will help you with that research, because of the tremendous flow of information online, it becomes difficult to segregate information that actually will add value and information that's completely useless. So we'll help you with the whole process of research, because you need to understand the country, you need to understand its demands, you need to understand the demand of the course, the demand of the people. And here in this process of research and application, you take help. Take help from us at Leverage, and we will make this dream of yours studying abroad a reality, right? The second thing that you would have to do was to get your documentation ready, right? Have your transcripts, have your degree, have your CV, and everything. Give yourself enough time to prepare, And imagine for yourself a life out of the comfort zone, a life in a different country. It can be very daunting, right? Because it's something which is completely new to you. And a lot of people, for the fear of the unknown, do not venture out into even thinking about education abroad, right? They're not able to adjust. But if you are someone who's motivated enough to build a career, then that's a challenge you will overcome, right? In fact, you will build a community over there, along with keeping the community that you have over here for yourself, right? And in that country, what is also very, very important to, when you're dreaming of this, is to also think about the network that you're going to build yourself, right? Indian colleges and Indian communities are everywhere. So you have to take the initiative, but you'll be able to, meet those people. And those people will be more than willing to help because they have similar experiences and they will understand what you're going through. And therefore, they will offer you the solace and the comfort that you need. And it's something that we keep saying, that language is difficult to acquire at a later stage, but it becomes so much easier when you are in that setting. If you just pick up the language of the country that you're going to, it just opens so many more doors for you, that it's phenomenal. And therefore, you're settling down in that country, your career progressing in that country gets put on a pedestal and you get an advantage, right? So, and the next thing would be discussing about jobs. In Indian campuses, we're a little complacent, and the culture that we promote is the idea that you have companies coming to the campus and people getting placed. But outside, even in the best of colleges like London School of Economics, Oxford, Harvard University, you don't have campus placement. But you do have a culture of cold calling. So all of the information is going to be available to you. You can call up companies, you can ask them if there are vacancies available, and you can apply for those jobs. So what that also does is that prepares you for the future. That prepares you, in case of any eventuality later in your career that you need to go ahead and find those jobs. So information is out there in the public domain, but what is needed from your end would be a little bit of effort. So therefore, what I basically talked about was the idea that studying abroad should not be a dream, right? And if it is a dream, you should try to make it a reality, because it is something that's accessible, and it is something that is very much desirable, especially for people who are from technological backgrounds, because the scope and opportunity that exists in some of those countries is tremendous. And therefore, if you're looking to go ahead and turn your dreams of studying abroad into reality, then you should visit leverageedu.com and go ahead and book yourself a free consultation. Join us on our Telegram community. You can look at our YouTube channel, Leverage TV. Leverage Edu is on YouTube, and there is a service called Leverage TV also. Okay, so you finished your BTech in CSE. Which exam you will get a chance to go abroad to study after finishing? Okay, so if you've done your BTech in CSE, then there are multiple ways that you can go abroad. If you're looking to transition into a management role, then an MBA is an option that's available for you. But if you want to stick to research, then an MTech and MS is something that is an option that is available to you. And to apply for an MS course, depending upon the geography, there will be certain requirements. If you're looking to apply to the United States of America, you would need a GRE score. If you're looking for applying for MBA in United States of America, you would need a GMAT score. UK, Europe, mostly you do not need either a GMAT score or a GRE score for both the MS program or the MBA program. But it is sometimes advisable. If you're looking to apply to Germany for an MTech, you would need a GRE. So exams you can basically look at would just basically be GMAT and GRE. And these, they don't they open doors for you to go abroad. It's not that you take that exam and you go abroad. You take that exam, you fill in an application, and then you go abroad. Yes, yes. So we've answered about the exam. Which field is so much strong abroad? It's not so much a field. I think most opportunities abroad, there are plenty. So management is something that's there. Data science, data analytics, in technological, in the tech field also, software engineering is also there. Computer science is there. Big data is there. Machine learning, artificial intelligence. So all of these fields are very much strong abroad also. Please discuss about the more demanding skills needed in abroad for job. So it's not that you need more demanding skills, right? Because if you see, there's been a report that says that Indians work the longest hours and get paid the least in the entire world. So it's not about skills being demanding. It is just about being efficient, and it's just about being good at the job that you do, right? So the skills are not demanding. The skills, whatever skill set you need. So if you're a computer engineer, you need to be a good computer engineer. You need to know computer languages. You need to know the latest technology. You need to be updated. So those are the skills. So you can't be complacent. If you're looking for a career abroad, you can't be complacent to the person. If you're looking for a management career abroad, management career abroad, then you should be aware of the management trends, right? And that is something that is needed of you. And the skills would especially be particular to the job that you are looking at. But certain soft skills, like being good at communicating, is something that's extremely essential, especially abroad. And certain skills like being able to manage yourself, being responsible, and taking ownership. These are certain skills that would be needed for a job abroad. Entrance exams to study in leading universities abroad. There are no entrance exams as such, but two exams which become extremely important, and I've talked about them also. One is the GMAT, one is the GRE. GMAT is mostly taken by people who are looking at careers in management because it's the management aptitude test. GRE is taken by people who are looking for master's degree. If you're looking for a master's in technology, if you're looking for a master's in computer science, then you would take the GRE. So these are two exams that are taken by people who are looking to study in leading universities abroad. Okay, you're doing your MCA and you want to do a PhD. So what field shall I take? So actually, this would demand a little more conversation and a little more detail than just the knowledge that you're doing in MCA. Because what we need to understand is what your skill set is, what your work experience has been like, why do you want to do a PhD, and what are you looking forward to do after getting a PhD. And on the basis of that, and what your interests are. So, on the basis of that, the field for your PhD is going to be dependent. And that is something that you can. So I would suggest that Shraddha's Priya reach out to Leverage Edu and book yourself a consultation, the first free consultation, and we will assess everything for you, and then we can have a conversation about what field is the best. Second year, which field is strong, MBA or MTech? Both. They are both very strong. And if you're someone who actually likes both, then there is something like an MS MBA also, or a STEM designated MBA. STEM designated is basically just science, technology, engineering, mathematics MBA. So Indian colleges don't have, like most Indian colleges don't have it, but colleges abroad have this dual degree, wherein you get a master's in technology and you also get an MBA. So that's an MS MBA. It's a combined degree. So it basically can amalgamate your interests, both of your interests, because both are very strong. MBA gives you a different kind of career. MTech opens different opportunities and different kinds of careers for you. So that is something that you will again like we'll have to discuss and then talk about it. But opportunities are great in both. You've completed your BTech 2016. Can I give? Yes, it doesn't matter. So this is again a wonderful thing about education abroad, right? It doesn't matter if you're 30 years old, if you graduated 12 years back, if you graduated 20 years back, you can give the GRE at any point of time and go ahead and apply for a master's degree. In fact, they prefer people who come with work experience because people with work experience are more aware, they know what they're doing in life and they know where they're going to go. So that's something. So you can definitely give the GRE even if you graduated with BTech in 2016. Okay, a second year computer science says that you're interested in both technical as well as management roles. Yes, so here again, Because you're interested in both technical as well as management roles, I would suggest an MS MBA or a STEM designated MBA. But what you have to understand is that right now you're a second year computer science student. For any MBA degree, you would need certain years of work experience. You would need at least 3 to 4 years of work experience. Exam you can take. So when you're looking at an MS MBA, you can take either a GRE or you can take a GMAT. Is something that's up to you. You can see online resources for GRE and GMAT and figure out which tests are the best for you. And those are just the two exams that you need for any countries. And countries you prefer, countries can be many. So you can look at Germany, you can look at France, you can look at UK, you can look at United States of America, of course. Then there's Canada. It would depend on the amount of money that you're willing to spend. If you're someone who has a lesser budget, then there would be different countries. You can look at Ireland, you can look at Australia, you can look at Netherlands, Norway. All of those countries are countries that you can get clarity. Which language I give attention most, Python or Java. So that is also going to be dependent on what your future goals are, right? If in the future, wherever you aspire to work needs for you to be proficient in Java, then Java is what you should be doing. If your future goal aspiration needs you to work mostly with Python, then that's what you should be doing, right? And language is going to depend on that. Some countries which are best for MS at low budget. Yes, definitely. Germany is a very good country if you have a low budget, something like 5 to 6 lakhs. Also, you can study in public universities in Germany. Ireland is a country which 6 to 7 lakhs for an MS, you can be done. And this is something that I'm saying without any scholarship. So good students who have great academic records or have extracurriculars, they always have the opportunity to apply for scholarships. The scholarships also become a good avenue for you to be able to cut down on the cost of your education. And the 5 to 6 that I'm saying, or the 4 to 5 that I'm saying, is also something that you can make at the time of your education as well by working over there, right? Because when you work over there, they have hourly wages. So the money you are able to earn is also more. So that will be enough for you to be able to sustain yourself, because the only cost that you will have when you go to low budget countries would be the cost of living. I'm at class 10 now. Can I go abroad to study at high school? Okay, so high school might be a little troublesome, and it might not be the best way to go about an education abroad. But since you're in class 10, the next 2 years you can try to do great, right? Do great at school, participate in extracurriculars, especially so for an undergraduate education. Universities abroad look at holistic profiles. So they want people who've participated in extracurriculars or have done volunteer work, etc., etc. So, anonymous attendee, you can go ahead and in the next 2 years do all of these things, right? Build a very good profile for yourself. And if you're looking for an undergraduate degree, you have to give the SATs. If you're looking at different countries, so you'll have to give the SAT exams. You can start preparing for that right now. Take the next 2 years to just build up your profile and prepare really, really well for your SATs. And then any good university would, lap you up. Any place in US, any place in Canada, any place in the UK also. So you can go and target for your undergraduate education abroad. And I think that would be the better route that I would suggest than going for your high school. So I guess that's about it. And if you've missed, for people who've missed this webinar, you can go ahead and watch it on YouTube. You can also go ahead and watch it on Leverage TV. And it's an affirmation from my side that a career abroad is something, or education abroad is something that's very much attainable. And therefore, everyone should be looking at those as an option and keep it for themselves, because there are a lot of people in India who are extremely talented but miss out on opportunities just because there's sheer numbers and just because we are so many people. But if you are someone who's motivated to build a career, then you should go ahead and reach out to Leverage Edu to discuss those, understand how you can go ahead and take the next step to getting an education abroad, which further leads you to go ahead and build a great career. Thank you, everyone.